So I wanted to do a kind of a quick demo for how to UV unwrap kind of an animal character that you would have, a quadruped. So I've got my model already set up. They're pretty much finished modeling. I got a very low poly model that I'll be bringing into mudbox to sculpt. So what I'll do is I'll first put a Unwrap UVW, and the first thing that happens is you can see that I got these green lines that show up. The green lines are the seams, and when I'm talking about the seams, those are, I'll open my editor here, and ideally I would put this on a second monitor, but then you wouldn't be able to see it for the recording. So so right now these are my animals, or my quadrupeds UVs, and I just kind of move these off to the side. So this makes up my entire character. Not ideal at all. So what I'll do is, with everything selected, I'm just going to start off with a, something happened here. Let's switch to face mode. So I'll just open this up, come to face, I'll select everything here, and I'm going to planar map, and I'll do it from the X direction. And I'm just doing that to get rid of any seams that I would have had on this character to start with. Also, it kind of organizes it in a way that I can see everything. So so all of my seams are now gone. If I look at this model, why can't I deselect? What is going on? It's being weird. Alright, so anyway, it's got no seams on it anymore. So I want to add seams, and I'm going to add my own seams. So for now, I'm just going to close my my UV edit window, and I'm going to come down to here they are, the seams. You can't even see the text here for it, but these are seams, and the one I'm going to do is point-to-point seams. And what this is going to allow me to do is split this mesh up into different sections, and it would almost be like if I was wanting to skin this animal, what I would do. So I'm going to separate the, let's say it was the fur, if I was skinning the fur off of this animal, the off of the bottom and off of the top, those will be separated. And I'll separate the head and the ears and the face, and then the tail, and then the feet and the bottom of the feet. So I'll have a top and bottom of the feet. So I'll just go through and kind of figure out where I want to start with this. So where I'm going to start is the bottom of the leg here. So if I click, I'll start, and I got this dotted line that I've got started here. And I'm just going to click around my the bottom of my leg here, bottom of the leg, and where it attaches to the foot, and making sure I'm getting the right spot here. And I'll come back. Okay, so that's my foot and leg separation area. And then I'll have one that goes around the foot to separate the top of the foot and the bottom of the foot. So I'll do that one next. And I'm going to have to do this for all the feet. So just going to keep going here. So I may not talk. You can just kind of listen or see what I'm doing. I'm not going to talk. You just got to listen to me. Now the nice thing is if I click over to this other toe, as long as I've got some sort of edge loop here, or the seam is going to select the shortest distance between the two parts that I'm clicking from. So it will select all the way around, assuming there's no shorter distance to get there. I'll show you what I mean. So I could start from this toe and click all the way over to this toe, but there was a shorter distance here, so it chose that. So what I'll do instead is click to the next toe and to the next, and then work my way around. Come back to the point here. And I could try clicking here. Oh, that actually worked. So that followed good. I thought it might try to cut its way up through. And I need to now do the seam going around the foot here. It's going to be a little tricky. It does try to follow the edge loops as much as possible, but it's also trying to select the shortest distance, shortest route to go to get somewhere. Okay, so that should separate my my front feet. So now I got to do the same thing to the back here. So again, I'll start with the toes, and again that doesn't work, so I'll just select to the toe. Would be nice if it did work though. Save me a little bit of work. And up here, and back up to the toe. And I'll do the other. Getting quieter. Ah, keep doing that. Okay, so that'll finish up that part. And then I'll show you why this is handy. Oh, it's going to be so hard to see. That's my little girl trying to get in, if you can hear that noise. She's trying to sneak into my room. And she's getting mad at me. Oh, she's mad. I might have to let her in. She went away. Oops. Yeah, I guess that's what I wanted. It's these underneath parts that are a pain. Something else you can do is you can actually go through over here on the side, and you can convert edge selections that you have to seams. So you may find that that works a little bit better. It would help if my camera was focusing around what I've got going on. I'll do the next one the other way I just said, just so you can see what that looks like. And alright, I think I've got that all done. Alright, so if I get out of point-to-point seams, and I switch to edge mode, okay, why are we selecting all? I don't want to select all. Okay, ignore back face. It's not selecting by element. That's really weird. Okay, so I'm going to open up my editor and deselect here. That's weird though. I'm going to hit Z so I can get my bear back there. Sometimes when you zoom in, I don't know why, it just freaks out. So, why are we not selecting edges? It was awesome. Thanks, Max. Nothing seems to want to work for me. Alright, well, I guess we'll go back point-to-point edge selection. Yeah, that would make sense. I'll do that. Maybe back-facing? No? I don't know why it's not working. It's strange. Oh, here is the culprit. I hit the space bar at some point. It locked my selection. That makes sense. Always a good thing to check. So if I begin selecting here. Oh. So let's go to loop, and that should select everything around there. So that's nice and easy. And then I can just convert edge selection to seam. That's handy. Let's see where else I can use that. So I actually want to do the same thing for the bear's face. Selected a little more than I wanted there. Let's see. So I'll just go through. Actually, I'm going to go back to point for this part. Where do I get all these welds from? I don't remember welding that. Uh-oh. That's going to cause issues. And I didn't even go where I wanted to go here. So I'm going to go right up into the ear. And actually, I might be able to get the ear in with this. We'll see what this looks like. I might change my mind on this after I've done it. Okay, come back down the face. Now the way I'm doing this doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way to unwrap, but it's, oh wait, I want to go up around the ear, I forgot. But it's what I do. You don't have to include the ears in the face selection or anything like that. You may find that that gives you poor results. But basically I'm separating this part from the back of the head, and I'm even going to do the back of the ears by themselves. So you'll see what this all does at the end. And come back to the front. Okay, so my face and my feet are done. Now I'll come around the tail and get the tail. And this would probably be better to do as that convert selection, but I've already started, so I might as well just finish it. Okay, so I think we're okay there. So that should be the tail finished. Now I have to decide what point am I going to separate the top and the bottom. I want my seams to be least noticeable, but let's say I'll do I think I'll go from here, because this gives me a nice area up there to kind of work with. So I'll start from down here, come up, and come back down. Wait. I think I've got... Oh no, that's right, okay. Wait, no, that's not. I came down too far. Okay. Make sure that's the same on both sides. Alright, so that takes care of that part. Now I've got to have a seam that goes up the belly to separate that, so I'll do I think I'll do from this part of the leg. Wait, let's see. Gotta think about this a bit. It's gonna be tricky. Because I'd kind of want my seam here to go up the inside part of this leg and across. I'm trying to see if that lines up with everything well over here. If that's the case, there's going to be a lot of this part of the leg in the texture. Tricky. What I could do is, since these legs are very cylindrical, unwrap them together and then stitch this back up. So I think that might be what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to do this part here. So what I'll do is make a seam that runs through there, and then one that runs up around the leg, which I don't really have a good one that does that. Unless, yeah, maybe I do. Let's see what happens here. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get someone who sees this and goes, "This is the stupidest way to unwrap something ever. I can't believe you." That's what I want. Alright. not a lot of exciting things to talk about while I do this. Alright, so that'll be the legs, kind of unwrapped. And I might as well just do the same thing for the rest of the leg. Oh wait, did I add a seam here? No, I needed that part done as well. There are a lot of really nice tools though in Max to allow you to unwrap now. Back in my day you had to do this all by hand. Back in my day. Alright. Am I able to go up over the shoulder as well? Because that's helpful if I can. My daughter's playing the xylophone right now, so I'm wondering if that'll come up on here. Let's see. Came up to here before. Hey, that followed nicely. Good. And come back down to there. Okay. So that separates there. Actually, these seams here, I'm going to come over here to edit seams, and I'm going to take those ones out. So I'm holding Alt right now and clicking them and deselecting those. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to split this guy right up to his tail. It's going to be hard to see. I think that's what I wanted. That doesn't match up with my seam though. Or does it? I'm confused on what's going here since I have an overlap. No, I guess that was right. We'll see. Okay, so let me see what I've got here now. So I'll have this big section here. That'll be one whole unwrap. Yeah, this might work okay. Alright. So I'll take a look at what I've got. So now that that's all finished, I have to see if there's any other parts, like if I wanted to separate the mouth out by itself, because I know this bear is going to have a seam that runs around its mouth, and it'll be a separate color, so that's kind of a good place to have a seam. But I'll have to see. We'll see how it ends up looking. So I've got that part done. So all of my seams are set up. The reason I did my seams is because there's this expand face to selection to seam. So what that means is if I go into polygon mode and I select the face and I expand it to the seam, it will automatically select all of the polygons that run up to those seams, which is what I want. So where does this come in handy? So now if I go to the editor, sometimes what I'll do right away is, just to make sure I keep my seams in case something happens, I'll right click and go to break. And what this allows me to do is move out my sections that I've got. So I can just go through here quickly. Oh. And I can right click, break, and move the face away. And I can kind of section out my different parts, and that will definitely keep my seams. It'll turn the seams into the green seams that I had before. That should already be separated. My daughter's knocking again. Well, I need both of those. Ugh, both. Okay, those are both of the ears, back of the ears. Maybe I will actually select those separately, just so I have them. And then I've got my legs. Expand that, and that should already, nope, not broken. Break. I'll move that down below the body. Select that part. Break. Select the bottom part of the foot. Expand. Right click. Break. And I'll show you why this is important to do. Okay. Expand. Break. A lot of repetitive stuff going on here. Very exciting. Okay, expand. Well, not there. Break. And now the front leg. Expand. Break. This is just going to make it easier for me to select these parts to work with. But if I was to, at this point, right click and convert this to an editable mesh or poly, those seams, the blue seams that I put in, would disappear. They would go away. And then if I came back into my Unwrap UVW, they would be gone. Whereas it's going to keep this information that I'm splitting up. So in case I needed to fix something, I noticed there was some problem in my mesh, and I had to convert to edit poly and fix that, then coming back to my edit mesh, or my unwrap, it would be gone. So if I select these parts now and just kind of split them up from one another, this actually will save all of that. Oh, that's not good. So that didn't get split off there. Oh, I see. So my seam here is actually screwed up. Alright, let's see if that fixed it. What's going on? Oh, I'm still on seam selection. Like, what is going on? Nothing's working. And I started adding in all these weird seams by clicking. Okay, get out of that mode. And expand. Okay, now that's fixed. Separate that off. And select the bottom. Expand. Right click. Break. Move that down below. And then the other leg. Expand. Break. And I'll just move that down. Expand. Break. Expand. Oh, that's actually already broken off. And just to kind of stay organized with everything. So I have all my legs there in a row. And I've got my tail. I think that's the last section. So now, the only thing I have to really worry about is this seam running up the center. I could still lose that, which would be easy to fix if I had to come back into this. But and I'll show you what I mean. So let me save before I do this, because I don't want to lose this work. So I'll save. And I'll make a new folder and call this Unwrap. I like to, so I've got my model, and in here I've got the files for where I've modeled. And then within here I'm going to make another folder for, oh, I don't want to make another folder here. I said that and started doing it. I want to make a folder in there, so now I can have one that's called Unwrap. And I'll number it 001 and save. Alright, so what I wanted to show was, so I've got these seams that run up the center of the legs, and I've got these green ones now, which will be permanent because they're actual seams, because the UVs are split up into sections. So if I converted to an editable poly and then fixed whatever problem I might have had and then come back into Unwrap UVW, you can see that my green seams are still here and all of my UV data has been saved. Everything is as it was when I left. The only problem is my blue ones that separated, you know, kind of the center of things that I wanted split, those ones are gone. So I have a save, so I'll just actually just undo there. So now that those parts are all set up, what we need to do is flatten them in such a way that we can use them. So I'm actually going to maximize now that this to make this a little easier to see. So I've got a seam that runs up the center of here. So I'm going to do the big part first. Now you can put a checker pattern on here. I typically will do that after, just so I can resize these pieces, and what you want is to see that your checkers are kind of the same size on all the different pieces and that you don't have any like weird stretching going on. So I'll explain that more whenever I get there. So I'll go to my face, I'll select the face here, and what I'm going to do for this is I will do a cylindrical map. Where are my maps? There we go. And the green part here is actually where the seam will be. So I don't want the seam to be on the side. And if I come down here, you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So first I need to change my alignment. I'm going to align by Y. But again, this seam that I have, where's the seam at now? The seam is, it's always the green one. There, it's there on the side. So I need to rotate my unwrap, my cylindrical unwrap. So I'm going to set my angle snap on, and I'll just rotate this 90 degrees. Make it so I can see my rotation down here. 90. And what I want to see is everything even on both sides. So what are we seeing here? Okay, these holes represent where the legs come out of the body, and this part is the top part of the head. So what I've done is flattened this bear out into something I can use as a texture. And the only problem that I have right now is that some of my polygons are overlapping just slightly because I used a cylindrical unwrap. But there are easy ways to fix this. So I'm going to click out of cylindrical, and one thing that I can try is I can do a relax. And there are some settings that I use for relax. First off, I changed this to face. I'm not going to do keep boundary points at this time because the boundary points, I want them to move. And so I'll just start relax, and that happens. That's bad. So one thing that I'm going to try is flipping this horizontally, and I'll do it again, and that's better. But what I can see here is that I've got some of these splitting up. That's because when I did the cylindrical, these seams were created. So I'll undo, and I will fix this first. So what I can try to do is I can select the center section, just one of the edges that I've got, and I'll do a loop which will select everything here, and I don't want the top section to be selected, and I'll go to vertex mode. Wait, can I convert this to no, I can't do it there. Select convert edge to vertex, and now I can right click and weld selected, and that turned all those back to white, so there's no more green there. That means that these have been welded up, and that's what I want to see, so that's good. Now if I come back to face, and just to be safe I'm going to select everything there, I'll come back to relax, and this has gone back to edge. I want face, and I'll start my relax. And I'm just going to click it and stop. I could do apply, which is just going to affect it a little bit, and that's actually pretty much enough. What I'm looking for is no more overlapping, and all this is trying to do is organize the faces a little more equally. So I kind of like what I've got there. Now I don't want to leave this in the center right now, so what I'm going to do is just move this out of the way. So now I've got the rest of the body to kind of go through and do. So I'll just do my sections here. So the one in the front, we'll try a different type of unwrapping. There are a lot of new tools in here. There are quick peel, which, ew, don't like what it's doing. Made my ear huge. So let's try to do planar map and quick peel. Okay, so here's a problem. It kind of worked, but it made my nose really tiny on here. Much more tiny than my ears, which it's actually about the same size, so it shouldn't be doing that. So I don't want that. What else I could try is I could try a pelt map. And what a pelt map will do is it's trying to stretch this out in all directions. So if I do this, let me make it so I can't see everything. That's no good. So I want to look at my pelt options, and I've got these this stretcher. So what I need to do is select the stretcher, that's that, and I'm going to rotate this. That actually worked pretty good. Before it was kind of off to the side. Now everything's kind of lined up nice and equally on both sides. So I will start pelt. So you can see what it did was it just pulled everything out. And now if I do a relax and by face, let's apply it once. Oh wait, that's still doing it to the pelt. So let me commit what I did there. Alright, and I'll come back to relax by face, and I'll just apply it once. That's actually a much better result. Don't like that, so I want to do that last one I did. So that's a bit better. Alright, so I'll close that out, and now I'll move my head just in front of my body here. So I'm just trying to keep everything making sense here. Now one of the things I can see is this is my entire body, this is my entire face. My face is bigger than my body right now. So I'll show you what I meant by applying the checkers and how you'll have to fix these. Okay, so I've got the back of the ears. The back of the ears, they could probably be planar mapped rather easily. So I'll do planar map first, and I'll do that by Y seemed to give me the best result. See what happens if I do a quick peel. That actually works really good for the ears. Alright, so we'll keep that. That was fine. Get out of planar. And now look how big my ears, the back of my ears are compared to my head. So I'll fix all this after. Okay, I've got my tail. And my tail for this character, it's kind of a sphere shape. Now, sphere, if I went and did a spherical map, let's take a look at what it's trying to do. So I'll move this off to the side, and that way I can see where my seam is. So my seam is on the side. I don't know why it always defaults to that. So let's, whoa, switch this to local. Okay, and it's not even on both sides. There, that's better. Even though I rotated it off center, which is weird, it still lines up better here. I don't know why that is, but it works. So let me look at what I've got. So I got to deselect my sphere and see what happens if I do quick peel. Ugh, gross. See, I just try some of these things sometimes just to see how it's affected. So the one thing I can see is I've got these that need to be welded, so I'll select those first off, right click, weld selected to fix my seams. Come back to the face mode, and I'm just going to try relax. And that's good. It's nice and organized, and it looks like a heart. That doesn't matter, but okay, so that's the tail that goes back by the bum, so that'll go there. So we got legs left, and we've got feet. So, and I tried to keep everything here separated enough that I could just select it all at once. So again, let's see what happens if I just go through and do a quick peel. That's actually not bad. Some of these things, Max didn't used to have this, and this works very nicely. Almost so that it makes me angry at it for not being in there before. And it's working because I've set up those seams, so it's doing it based on the seam that I put in. It's awesome. That's so quick. Let's see what happens if I do these. That looks good. That's the top of my foot. I wonder if it'll let you do more than one at a time. Let's find out together. Oh, it's so good. Love this. And there are my feet all done. So I've got this foot. If I select it, this lights up blue. That tells me that that seam matches up with the same seam as here. So I could keep my feet together this way if I wanted. And whenever I end up putting all of these, I need to get all of this stuff to fit within this little box. So you can see I've got some work ahead of me to do that. So I'll move this one over here. And I'm just going to try to keep this organized this way. At the very least, just so I know what I've got. Alright, it's the bottoms. Okay, so there's all my feet. And there's all my legs. My back legs and my front legs. Alright, so now I'll do the checker pattern thing just so I can show you what that looks like. So I'll close out of this, I'll go to my material editor, and I'm using the compact mode. There's this slate material editor, which is newer. I'm just going to use this because it's a very simple process. So I'll go to the diffuse map slot, click that, and I'll select checker. And under checker, I'm going to just put in some tiling. So I'll do 4x4. So that'll give me some tiles on here. So what will happen now is I'm going to show shaded material in viewport, and I will drag that on my bear. So what I can see is that I've got some checkers here that are way bigger than other checkers, which means that my textures are going, that basically means that this section on my UV map is way smaller than this section. And we can see that's true when we open up the UV editor. I can see that the body here is way smaller than the head. So if I turn on this checker pattern, it's already actually set up, but it's in here. That's what's going on. So if I want all this to kind of be normalized, I can just select and scale these down until I can see that the squares are roughly the same size. And so my tail, look how tiny they are on there. That means there's a lot of bad going on there. So I'll scale that down, and if I need this to be more apparent, I can just turn up my tiling here. So if I do 10 by 10, That makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay, so I need to scale down this section just a little bit more. Or actually, a little bigger. And actually, this section here might connect back up with the body. And I can tell by just selecting my points here that it will. So I'm going to do that. So hit undo back to where I was at with my selection. And I'll just sew this baby up just so I've got a better, I won't have a seam here anymore from the body to the bear, or from the body to the tail. From the body to the bear. That makes sense. So I'm going to do target weld. I'm just trying to meet these halfway. And that one I'll just do weld selected. That way neither one of these are stretching all that much to make this happen. Okay. And then weld selected. My tolerance must not be set small enough. So I'll just scale these down together. Okay, why isn't that disappearing? Doesn't really matter because they're occupying the same space. It just makes me wonder. Huh. Well, that's dumb. It's really bothering. Alright, wait. Let's try target weld. There we go. I don't know why that worked and the other one didn't, but I'm also going to give just a little bit more space to some of these points for the textures. Okay, so that's good. I've got my head, that's set up the way I want. The back of the ears are huge. I must still be in, yeah, I'm still in another mode. So let's go look at the back of the ears. Alright, so I need these squares to match up better, so I'll just select both, go to scale, and I'll scale this down. So I get something that looks a bit closer. That's pretty good. The front of the ears are a bit smaller. That's because they're bigger on our bear here. I'm gonna let that one go. I'm kind of gonna have to. And then my legs are a little bit large, so I'll scale them down until that's a bit better. And I'm just gonna do them all together. And that's pretty good. Okay. And then let's see how my feet look. I can do them all together, I'm pretty sure. And they're pretty good, actually. Scale them down just slightly. Alright, so I need to get all this to fit. So now, since I've taken the time to kind of put everything together, it would be a good idea to not scale things separately now, because now everything's already set up to a specific size. So if I select everything together and move it into my box, I can see that this is already way too big. So I'll scale it down till it occupies most of the space, because it's the biggest part. And I need to be able to get my legs and my head in there, so I'm going to keep going here, and I think I'll try that. So I'm going to move this up to where it's very, very close to these edges. I can actually see that I've got an error in my mesh right here. I've got a vertice kind of floating out there. So that's pretty close. I'll leave that. The head, I'm going to move up. I'm going to move these feet out of the way for now. So the head, I'm going to move up here. The legs should fit nicely, mostly nicely down here. Alright, I could probably make this just a bit bigger as well. And deselect those legs so I can mess around with these ones. So these are kind of rotated weird. So I'll get them to fit, trying to take up as much space as I can. And I try to keep things lined up in a nice way so I know what everything is, so that things are rotated the way that I want them. That's why I haven't like changed the rotation on these. You can mess around with doing that if you want, if you find that to be a better result. These are the front feet, so I'll kind of group them all together to take up some space. So let's see, I'll try to fill up this space down in the bottom. So just move everything together and deselect. And I'm not so worried about the placement of these feet and trying to keep them organized any specific way. I would like all of them to fit here though. Let's select and move these a bit closer together. Space is at a premium. Okay. That's good. Alright, and now I've still got my tail's in here now, so I don't have to worry about that. So I got the back of my ears, and I've got my feet, these feet. So this is going to fit really easily. Okay, and now this section. The back of my ears are actually, I think, a little bit too big. Let's see. So I can have one set be here. And now I'll deselect the other ones. There's a little bit of an overlap. And I'll move those over to there to separate everything. And that should be everything. Let's zoom out. Yep, got everything. So everything is now in its rightful place. So now I need to export out my UVW map. So I'm going to save as, so save an iteration, just so I have that part finished. So the unwrapping and the packing is all done. That's that section. So now I want to render UVW template. I'm going to have my textures be 1024 by 1024, that's fine. But it's going to render it at 72 dpi. So what I'll do is when I bring it into Photoshop, I'll scale this up to 300 dpi to add my textures to. That way I can have my textures be a higher resolution. And this is just going to serve as a template for texturing if I was doing it in Photoshop. But I'm doing it in mudbox, so I don't really have to worry about this. So I will, I can, if I want, show my green seams. I mostly turn that off. And I also turn off my overlaps because I did a good job on not having that. So I shouldn't have to worry about that. And everything should be good. Now I'll hit render UV template and I get this. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see it. But this is my UV template. So I want to save this as a target. And I will just save it directly into my unwrap folder. Actually, I won't. I lied. I'm going to make a textures folder, and I'll save this out as my character. So what was his name? Tidiers, something like that. UVW map, and that'll be a targa file. And save. I want it to be a 32-bit targa, and I don't want to compress, I don't want to split the alpha, and I will have it as a pre-multiplied alpha. So I will save that, and now I have that map to turn in for my homework. If I was turning this in for homework, I'm teaching the class, so that's not happening, but I'll have that to show for reference at the very least. And there's my completely unwrapped bear, which I'm glad to have for class tomorrow. So this was good to do. Anyway, now I can right click, convert to editable poly. Now you can see that my bear stays unwrapped and textured. What this also means is now if I wanted to, say, apply a turbo smooth, it's still gonna keep that UV map information, but now it's updated to be a little bit smoother, which is going to be good for when I bring this into mudbox. So now that I've got this done, I'm going to right click and convert to editable poly, and I want to make sure that my center point, so if I go to hierarchy, affect pivot point, I'll set it to center to object, align to world. Center to object, align to world. Okay. And make sure that my bear is now at 0, 0, 0. And if I turn on my grid, I can see that he is centered. So I will save this as my final unwrap. So save as final. Save. And now I will send it to mudbox, but I don't want to have this checker pattern on here. So to remove that, I'll go to utilities, I'll go to more, I'll go to UVW remove, which don't worry, that'll be fine, and I'm only removing the materials, not the UVW. So I'll just do set as gray, remove the materials. Wait, set as gray? How does that work? Oh, okay. It wasn't updating up here, so I was like, that doesn't make sense. And there we go. So now I can send it to mudbox, which I can do that for send to mudbox, and I'll send it as a new scene. And now it's going to open up mudbox. Well, wait for that. It might take a moment though. Whoa, look at that guy. He's an old man. Oh, that didn't take that long. And whoa. Problems detected in mesh. So it says, oh, look, it found that that vertice that I had on the bottom of my mesh. So if I cancel the import, I can now go here and fix that problem that I had. Also, I want to rename this just so I have that. But I need to fix this problem that I had, which is nice and easy to fix. So I'll just select all those and make sure my keyboard shortcuts override toggle is off. And if I hit Control-Alt-C, holy crap. Sorry if that panned. That was unexpected. But Control-Alt-C, which will do the same thing as collapse. It's just a shortcut for it. That should have fixed that problem. Why is my panning happening again? Okay. I think it's going to keep doing it as I pan up. Panning's supposed to be off for this. So anyway, I'll now send it back to mudbox and it'll be fine to start sculpting. So hopefully you found this information very helpful, and you subscribe and you like my stuff and you share it with your buddies. Thank you.